I, a tough guy born into a martial arts family, ended up becoming the simping, submissive male lead in an angsty story. In the original version, the male lead, in order to win the female lead's affection and make her marry him, was willing to donate his kidney and liver to her childhood friend. But even after doing all of this, the male lead, drained of everything, was quickly discarded once he lost his usefulness. Afterward, he endured humiliation and disappeared for 5 years, all to one day reclaim what was rightfully his. But no one could have expected that upon his return, he would play the role of forgiving and taking responsibility, helping the female lead raise her child. Seriously, who could tolerate such a stupid plot? So, in the marriage room, as Willow raised her hand to slap me while shouting, "How can you just put your pants back on and act like you didn't promise me this? You agreed that if I married you, you'd give Makoto a kidney. This is what you owe me." Next second, I slapped her hard across the face and followed it with a right hook and an elbow strike. I said, "What the hell do I owe you? Are you out of your mind? You've got love brain syndrome. It's incurable. I suggest you get cremated instead." Chapter 1. Brothers. I've crossed over. I've entered a novel I had just read, a story about a true and false heir. I'm the real heir who was brought back, but my parents and family all favor that fake heir. They say that my appearance has stolen the life that was originally his. They told me to stay in my lane, that they won't treat me unfairly, but not to expect too much. The male lead also has a love-struck childhood friend, the female lead. In the original story, I'm a hopeless simp because a girl saved me when I was young. I regarded her as my goddess. When the female lead appeared, I immediately recognized her as that little girl, and loved her to the point of no return. I even went as far as offering my kidney to the fake heir just to please her, but she was indifferent, and because of the protagonist's halo, she kept emotionally manipulating me. For example, she made me gouge out my own eyes, forced me to give my heart, liver, spleen, and kidney to the fake heir for transplant, made me get a vasectomy for love, handed over my assets, and even caused me to fall off a cliff and suffer from a fire. In this angsty story, the law is practically non-existent, and the female lead dominates over the male lead in ways that are borderline abusive, both physically and mentally. Despite all this, I didn't die. Not only did I survive, but I also went missing for 5 years and returned, claiming I would take back everything that was mine. In truth, it was a long-lost reunion, and then I forgave her and helped her raise the child. I'm doomed. I'm not okay at all. Fortunately, I've only just transmigrated here. If the female lead had been forced to fulfill the marriage contract with me, otherwise, I would have made sure that their little family of 3 got restructured completely. Chapter 2. Before crossing over, I was born into a martial arts family. By the time I was 18, my father had taught me 18 sets of martial arts techniques. I could wield swords, guns, staves, and other weapons with ease. My dad always thought I was a tough, iron-blooded man, but in truth, I'm a soft-hearted pure love warrior. Lying in bed with my phone, secretly reading romance novels was my untold secret, because if my dad found out, he would make me squat in a horse stance for 8 hours. Now, it's all good. I no longer have to squat in a horse stance. I've directly become the male lead from this angsty story. Chapter 3. Why does the male lead in this angsty story get abused? Because he's so subservient. He grovels for a female lead who doesn't like him, while she is infatuated with the malicious male supporting character. Under the fake accusations of the male supporting character, the male lead can't explain himself, even though he's in the right. So, here I am, at my wedding with Willow, when the male supporting character Makoto pretends to congratulate me. Then he trips down the stairs and says, "George, why did you push me?" What a ridiculous, self-centered idiot. His acting skills are so good, why doesn't he just join the entertainment industry? Willow is even worse. In the wedding room, without saying a word, she raises her hand and tries to slap me. I'm enraged. I quickly subdue Willow with one hand and slap her several times across the face with my other hand. Sometimes I really don't get it. Who gave the female lead the confidence to act like she can slap me when she can't even fight back? Willow was just acting all high and mighty, but now she's stunned after I slapped her. She screams and yells, "George, are you crazy?" I slap her again. Smack. She shrieks, "You're hitting me." I slap her once more. Smack. You. Smack. I pin Willow down, slamming her head onto the pillow. While doing that, I ask, "Do you accept it or not? Do you accept it or not? Little brat, you think I can't handle you? Who told you to play games with me? Look closely, I'm your father." Willow, now bruised and swollen, is crying like a mess, her face covered in tears and snot. I'm not joking when it comes to hitting people. It's a family tradition passed down for 3 generations. I'm a professional. Willow chokes on her sobs. "George, you're an abuser. Was your old self all just an act? I can't help but laugh, folding my arms and looking at her. Then go ahead and call the police. Chapter 4. Heh, don't think I don't know. In this novel, there's no police at all. The female lead can override half of the criminal code. And so can I. After all, we're both the protagonists. Why should the male lead back down for the female lead? To my surprise, Willow, that sly creature, actually dared to call the police. Looks like the police are really coming. I immediately realized. Oh no, the novel also has double standards. If the police can't handle the female lead, can they handle the male lead? After all, if a woman slaps a man, it's considered brave and can even be made into a funny story. But when a man slaps a woman, it's domestic violence, and he'll end up in jail. Seeing my panicked expression, Willow was extremely pleased. A hint of mockery, a hint of sarcasm, and a hint of indifference flashed in her eyes. She asked, "What's wrong? Are you scared? If you kneel down and apologize to me now, and then go to the hospital to donate 500 cubic centimeters of blood to Makoto." I couldn't help it. With a loud slap, I gave her a big slap across the face. I cursed. 500, you motherfucker. Why don't you donate blood yourself? Willow was hit so hard that she developed a psychological scar. Instinctively covering her face, she bit her lip and said, "You think I don't want to, but our blood types don't match. He's like you. Both of you have panda blood. Otherwise, when you two got switched, your uncle and aunt wouldn't have missed it." Hearing her say that, I got even angrier. So in this angsty story, everyone has panda blood. Huh? I grabbed her hair and said, "You two don't even have the same blood type, and yet you dare say you love him. He rejects your blood, and still claims he loves you. You two are nothing but fake childhood sweethearts." Then, hearing the police sirens downstairs, I picked up a bottle and smashed it over my head. Then I punched myself until my face was bruised, and collapsed onto the floor. Don't ask me how I did it. Just know, I've practiced martial arts. When I get serious, I can even hit myself. What I didn't expect was that the officer who showed up was a beautiful woman. She was about 5 feet 7 inches, with a slim waist and long legs, just perfect in her uniform. She was so excited when she saw me, almost like she had seen a long-lost relative. She came up and grabbed my hand, saying, "Oh my God, I've been a police officer for 3 years, and finally, someone called the police." She said, "Sir, please don't get too emotional. Tell me, was this crazy woman the one who hit you? What a vicious woman. She slapped him so hard even his own mother wouldn't recognize him." I nodded obediently. The next second, the policewoman's eyes immediately filled with tears. She said, 3 years. 3 years. Do you know what I've been through these 3 years? Finally, a protagonist knows how to call the police. Don't worry, justice will not be delayed or absent. We'll make sure she faces legal consequences. Willow stood there, stunned, and then screamed, "Are you crazy? I hit him. How could I hit him? I'm the one who called the police. I'm the real victim." Chapter 5. Willow's scream successfully snapped the policewoman out of the joy she had felt upon receiving the call. However, when she saw the injuries on Willow's face, she didn't show much sympathy. Instead, it was me, covered in blood, looking disheveled and defeated, like a fallen leaf in the wind. Seeing her looking at me, I shook my head helplessly, my eyes filled with restraint and endurance. I trembled as I stood up and said, "Sigh, it's all my own fault." Willow instantly became furious and shouted, "Can you have some shame? It's all your own doing. What does it have to do with me?" She said, "Besides, I'm a woman. How am I supposed to beat him? We're both women. You should." Before she could finish, the policewoman immediately interrupted her. "What does being a woman have to do with it? Does being a woman give you the right to hit someone?" She helped me up and said, "Clearly, he looks much worse. And what's your relationship with him? I suggest you tell the truth, or I'll take you back to the station." The more I looked at this policewoman, the more I liked her. She had that heroic spirit, unafraid of the world, daring to fight for justice. I couldn't help but blurt out, "Beautiful lady, how old are you? What's your name? Can I get your contact info?" She blushed and said, "I just turned 18, and I've never had a boyfriend." Unexpectedly, before she could finish, Willow, as if mad, ran over and shoved us hard. Just as the policewoman was about to lose her balance and fall, I quickly caught her with the technique I'd learned, like retrieving something from the bottom of the sea, and pulled her into my arms. I looked down at her with deep affection and asked, "Are you all right?" Then, I glared fiercely at Willow and asked, "How many slaps do you want?" Willow was stunned. Willow was completely stunned. She said, "George, get a grip. Who becomes a police officer at 18, let alone works for 3 years? Also, I'm your wife. You're hitting on other women in front of me. Do you think I don't exist?" I froze, asking, have we actually gotten our marriage certificate yet?" Willow snorted and threw 2 red marriage certificates in front of me. I opened them and saw that they were indeed for Willow and the original owner. I quickly shoved them into my pocket. I said, "Great, I can't lose these. I'll need them when we divorce. Getting a new one would be such a hassle." Then, I turned to the policewoman and said, "Wait for me. Once I'm divorced, I'll come find you." This made the policewoman, Anna, a little shy. She pressed her lips together tightly, gave me a look, pointed to her chest, and motioned that she was recording the interaction. In the end, Anna didn't give me her contact info, but I did learn her name, Anna. Anna gave me and Willow a lesson. Anna said, "How can you hit your husband? Do you know this is domestic violence?" Willow, furious, shouted, "He hit me. He's the one abusing me." Anna said, "In a marriage, you fight at the head of the bed, and make up at the foot of the bed." I waved my hand and said, We just got married today. We haven't even slept together yet." Willow screamed again, "George, are you crazy?" Yes, I'm crazy, no doubt about it. I'm a passionate young man, skilled in martial arts, determined to bring justice to the world. I wake up to find myself becoming a simping, turtle-like man. I married someone like Willow, trash that no one would even pick up from a trash can. How could I not go crazy? Chapter 6. Anna lectured us for quite a while, making sure we wouldn't start fighting again before she left. Willow seemed to realize that she couldn't do anything to me and decided to take a step back, choosing to talk things over calmly. She said, "George, violence won't solve anything. If you keep doing this, it will only make me hate you more." I replied, "Perfect. I don't like you either. Let's get a divorce." With just one sentence, Willow was left speechless. She stammered, Didn't you say you loved me, that you'd do anything as long as I married you?" These words were indeed spoken by the original owner. I replied impatiently, "So what? You even told Makoto that after we got married, you'd stay pure for him. Then you turn around and say that even though I have your body, I'll never have your heart." Willow snapped, That's not the same." I immediately interrupted her, saying, "And you still want to slap me? I have to divorce you. You're a domestic abuser." Willow's face turned red with rage, and she almost spat blood. She shouted, "George, between the two of us, who's abusing whom?" She said, "Fine. Even if you want to divorce me, you promised me that you'd donate blood to Makoto. You're not going to back out, right? Please, I'm begging you. If you don't go, he'll die." I really couldn't stand this love-struck female lead. Forget that Makoto was the one who fell down the stairs himself. More importantly, he only had a few superficial injuries and didn't need blood transfusions at all. This was something only someone like Willow, who's obsessed with love, would believe. I smirked, curling my lips into a cold smile and said, "Hurry up and die. I'll pay for 200 portions of funeral expenses. Just treat me to a meal of white rice." My words hit Willow like a heavy blow, completely breaking down the defenses she had in her heart. She trembled and said, "George, I never thought you could be such a vile person." I laughed, saying, "I've already abused you, and you still don't think I'm vile? Wasn't the beating hard enough? Want me to give you another round? But don't you dare fight back. If you fight back, it'll be mutual combat, and then you won't be able to call the police." Willow looked at me, one hand clutching her chest, the other pointing at me, trembling uncontrollably. I, with a caring tone, said, "Why is your hand shaking? Got Parkinson's?" Willow took a deep breath and, seemingly resigned, closed her eyes and said, "Get lost." I raised my hand, yanked her off the bed, and threw her out the door. I cursed. "Get out," I said. "Can't tell the difference between a big and small king. This is my house, and you want me to get out?" Then, right in front of her, I slammed the door shut with a loud bang. Willow was left outside, kicking the door and cursing loudly. "George, open the door, open it. Are you playing hard to get? Even if you act like such a rebel, I still won't like you." Just as I was about to lie down and sleep, I opened the door bare-chested and said, "A dog barking." Before Willow could say anything, I quickly slammed the door shut again. Bang. The speed was so fast, I almost slammed the door into Willow's nose. Chapter 7. After I drove Willow away, I slept soundly until morning. I found that, although the original owner's character was hard to define, his lifestyle was luxurious. He had a bank account with 8 digits and a Lamborghini worth tens of millions for daily transportation. Although I was the real heir brought back by a wealthy family, my parents, 3 sisters, and even my secret crush all favored the fake heir. So, what's so tragic about that? I don't understand the rich people's misery. All I know is, I want to divorce Willow and go after Anna. But to my surprise, when I woke up and planned to catch Willow to divorce her, she was gone. Instead, I was bombarded with missed calls and unread messages. My sisters and my parents were all sending messages as if they'd gone mad. My eldest sister sent, "If anything happens to Makoto, I'll never speak to you again." My second sister sent, "If anything happens to Makoto, I'm not done with you." My third sister sent, "I didn't expect you to be such a vile person. Stay away from me from now on." Sigh. These threats really lack any punch. Ito's mother, however, said something a bit different. "If I had known you were this kind of person, I would have never brought you back. Makoto will always be my son. How dare you hurt him? You'd better come back and apologize to him and beg for his forgiveness." This conversation really makes me question the writer's mental state when they wrote these lines. They were probably vomiting while writing them. Ito's father, as the head of the family, didn't say much. He just said, "Makoto needs a kidney transplant. Donate one of yours to him, and I'll give you 100 million. Holy crap, 100 million. I wish I had 32 kidneys, so I could donate 30 to Makoto and keep 2 for myself. Unfortunately, I only have 2 kidneys. Damn it. I missed out on 30 billion. I quickly gathered myself and drove back to the Ito family home. I didn't really want to go back there. After all, I had money in my account now, and I could go anywhere I wanted. But those people in the Ito family talked too much. Since they were calculating my kidney, I had to give them a taste of their own medicine. I sped all the way home, my car moving like the wind. At that moment, I was really grateful to my martial artist father, who had made me get my driver's license when I turned 18. As I pulled up to the door, the family chauffeur looked at me with disdain. He was about to say something, but I tossed the keys into his hand and slapped him across the face. Smack. The household servants, seeing me, wore a gloating expression and said, "Yo, isn't this the second young master? Why are you back alone?" Before she could finish, I slapped her again. Smack. Go to hell. Second young master, I'm the only real heir. Along the way, every servant who had bullied the original owner got slapped by me. Some even got 2 slaps. I lost track. In less than 100 meters, I slapped over a dozen people. After they got slapped, they all covered their swollen faces and ran to report to the family. It was quite the spectacle. I thought that since Makoto needed blood tests and a kidney transplant, he should be lying in a hospital bed. But to my surprise, his family was happily eating together at home, including Willow, my newlywed wife. Willow, as the female lead, really has a strong recovery ability. She had her face slapped into a pulp yesterday, but now she had recovered to her charming and radiant appearance, though there was still a slight cut on the corner of her mouth, giving her the look of a battle-worn beauty. Makoto, who had fallen down the stairs and rolled 18 times, was also fine and laughing with the family. And then there was me, the idiot who slapped myself a few times, with half of my face still swollen and showing no signs of recovery. Damn it. Chapter 8. It's great that Makoto is fine. Yeah, Mom and Dad were so worried. Everyone was happy that Makoto had recovered and was discharged from the hospital. But when they saw me, their smiles instantly froze. Willow went completely crazy, shouting, "George, what do you want? I've already come here to hide. Why are you following me?" I laughed out loud and said, "Stop flattering yourself. How would I know you were here? I thought you couldn't take the beating and ran off in the middle of the night. Since we've met, let's get things over with. I came to get the ID and household registration book." Willow froze for a moment, seemingly not understanding what I was saying. I raised my hand and showed my palm. I said, "Forgot. Do you want me to help you remember?" Willow's face instantly turned pale, and she asked, You really want to divorce me?" I replied impatiently, "Hurry up, do it quickly. Someone like you, with a brain that never developed and a cerebellum that barely works, if I don't dump you, should I keep you around for the holidays?" The Ito family members, hearing this, looked at Willow with curiosity. Makoto Ito furrowed his brows and looked at Willow, asking, "Willow, what is George talking about?" He pointed at me in shock. "Also, did he hit you?" It's understandable that the Ito family didn't believe it, because the original owner was a punching bag, and even the household servants didn't take him seriously. I was about to play dumb when the servants who had been slapped earlier charged in. "Sir, madam, the second young master is going too far. We may be servants, but we shouldn't be slapped like this." Before they could finish speaking, I slapped every one of their faces from start to finish. The sound of slapping echoed throughout the spacious Ito family living room. I angrily said, "I told you, there's only one young master here, not some second young master. Do you all have ears or not?" The Ito family members were stunned at first, then they all looked at Willow with sympathetic eyes. Willow immediately felt wronged. Knowing that everyone was imagining what happened to her last night, she yelled, "George, you're going too far." But the next second, I turned around and slapped her across the face. I said, "Do you think you can control my affairs?" Makoto, seeing his Willow get slapped, immediately stood up to protect her. "George, How can you hit a woman? If you have a problem, take it out on me. Before he could finish his sentence, I slapped him hard. The slap was so strong that it sent Makoto, along with his chair, tumbling to the ground. My eldest sister immediately went to help him. Makoto, are you all right? She raised her hand to slap me, angrily shouting, George, you're too much. I grabbed her wrist and slapped her back. Smack. My second sister, seeing that the eldest sister was slapped, rushed over to avenge her, shouting, George, you're going too far. I slapped her back with 2 quick smacks. Smack, smack. My third sister, seeing both her older sisters get involved, didn't want to be left out. I slapped her back with 3 quick smacks. Smack, smack, smack. In just a few minutes, everyone in the Ito family, except for Ito's parents, and even the family dog, had received my slap. One by one, their faces were swollen, and the victims could have made a circle around the living room. Why was I able to land a slap on every one of their faces, while they couldn't react in time? Because one of the techniques my father taught me in the 18 sets of martial arts was the shadowless hand. In all martial arts, speed is invincible. Chapter 9. After witnessing my terrifying combat abilities, everyone in the Ito family was trembling in fear. They lined up in 2 rows in the dining room. I casually grabbed a chair and placed it on the floor with a loud duong. I sat down, crossed my legs, and instantly, some people began shaking with fear. I glanced at everyone and sneered. What are you all standing around for? The expressions on their faces softened slightly. Before they could even breathe a sigh of relief, I spoke up again. I said, all of you, get on your knees. Ito's mother immediately exploded, rushing over and pointing at me, scolding. George, have you lost your mind? I'm your mother. You expect me to kneel? Are you out of your mind? Aren't you afraid of being struck by lightning? I smiled at her and said, if you don't kneel, how do you know whether or not lightning will strike me? You guys can't even beat me. Maybe if you kneel, the heavens will strike me down instantly. Perhaps what I said was so absurd that many of those who had been slapped earlier couldn't help but laugh, including the family driver. I glared at him and said, you're laughing. Did I make you so happy you're bubbling snot? He immediately stopped laughing. The others fell silent. Makoto gritted his teeth and glared at me, as if I were the big villain. Forget the as if, I am. Right now, I'm the dark, angsty male lead of this story. I'm the crazy, over-the-top male lead. When I looked at him, Makoto shivered. Then, he walked up to me and suddenly knelt down. He said, brother, it's all my fault. I took away your life. I took away your family. You have every right to hate me, to beat me, and to punish me. But you can't treat dad and mom, and the sisters this way. They're your family. I turned on the big screen in the living room, connected to my phone, and displayed all the text messages they had sent me. I smiled and said, family, look at what you've all been sending me. You all should be ashamed to send this stuff. I'm embarrassed just looking at it. This one, have you lost your mind? If anything happens to Makoto, I'll never speak to you again. What? Do you need me to sew your mouth shut? Why the hell would I care if you talk to me? This one, if anything happens to Makoto, we're not done. How are we not done? Come on, show me what you'll do. And this one, asking me to donate a kidney to your adopted son for 100 million. You really think this is my biological father? And this one, saying I shouldn't have been brought back. Well, why the hell did you give birth to me then? Why is this whole family so full of idiots? A bunch of useless pieces of crap. This is just bad luck. I grew up in a martial arts family. My father is a respected martial arts master, and my mother is a university professor, cultured and refined. As their son, I am both talented in the arts and martial disciplines, and I have a filthy mouth. I can't tolerate even a little bit of this nonsense. After everyone in the Ito family saw the messages their family had sent me, their expressions turned ugly. It was as if their social lives had just ended in an instant. When they sent these messages, they thought they were the justice bringers, but now they were embarrassed beyond belief. Heads down, covering their faces, I pointed my finger at them, cursing. You people, you claim to be my family, but you're all turning against me, supporting Makoto, that adopted son of yours. He's useless, and you think it's my fault. He gets hurt, and you think I caused it. When he farts, you think it smells good. Why don't you eat his poop, then? Willow thought I had gone crazy. She blushed deeply and tried to grab me, saying, George, stop saying that. I turned around and slapped her. I said, I'm speaking, and you have no right to interrupt. Willow's eyes widened in disbelief as she looked at me, as if she, who seemed to have the protagonist's halo, had never been humiliated like this in her life. Tears hung at the corner of her eyes, looking pitiful and delicate. She bit her lip and said, please, stop, she said. I promise you, I will never contact Makoto again. I'll focus on spending my life with you. Is that enough for you? What the hell? Is this love brain transfer happening? I didn't understand, but I was horrified, and in my panic, I kicked her away with all my strength. Don't you dare get involved. Chapter 10. Because my actions at the Ito family's house were so outrageous, the family couldn't take it anymore and called the police. When the police arrived, I saw someone I recognized. Quick as a flash, I immediately collapsed to the ground with a dramatic bang. Seeing me, Anna immediately jogged over, knelt down beside me, and asked, "George, what happened?" I raised my hand, trembling, and said, "Help, help me. My parents want to imprison me. They even want to take my kidneys, make me donate one to that adopted son of theirs, and I have evidence." Cough, cough. At this point, the big screen should be a key player. When Anna saw the big screen with the texts from my parents and 3 sisters, her mouth dropped open in shock. With concern in her eyes, she said to me, "Don't worry, your kidneys will be protected by me." She then stood up and said, "What do you all think you're doing? Forcing a citizen to donate organs is illegal." The house was already surrounded by a dozen or so servants who had been slapped earlier and came to report. With those texts and my state of near death, Anna easily believed that I had been forcibly imprisoned by my family. Willow saw Anna and immediately became furious. She snapped, "Why are you here again? Can you at least see the truth before you speak? We didn't hit him, he hit us." Anna pouted and said, "Can I just say, am I the only one who can be called to the scene in this book?" Willow wouldn't understand that, otherwise, she might have some brain cells growing. Anna didn't believe Willow at all. She said, "There are almost 30 of you here, and he's one person. How could he possibly beat all of you? Even if it was a group fight, the responsibility is still on you." The Ito family was about to go crazy. Someone said, "Can you look at the injuries on our faces before speaking?" I quickly coughed a few times to grab Anna's attention, then weakly said, "Anna, I didn't do it. My parents and my wife, they all forced me to donate blood and a kidney to Makoto. If this continues, I think I'll end up dead in their hands." I had already sensed that Anna was full of justice, and sure enough, she immediately became furious. She angrily said, "You all are going too far." Then, she took them all to the police station. The reason was that they were suspected of bodily harm, illegal detention, and threats. They were told to return and cooperate with the investigation. Although the outcome was that nothing major happened, Ito's parents and 3 daughters were locked in the police station's small holding cell and severely reprimanded. After taking the statements, Anna helped me out, limping. I gently caressed her hand and said, "Wait for me. Once I'm divorced, I'll come find you." I asked, "You won't mind that I've been divorced, right? That was all fake. They forced me to do it, trying to trick me into donating a kidney to Makoto. I really like you. I fell for you at first sight." Anna's face immediately turned red, and she pushed my hand away. She bit her lip and said, "Show some respect. I'm not that kind of woman." Then, she turned and walked away. Even rejecting someone, she looks so beautiful. No wonder she's the one I have my eyes on. Chapter 11. After my outburst, it seemed that the Ito family finally realized their mistakes. They started speaking to me more politely and didn't dare make any more demands. Ito's parents and their 3 daughters even transferred money into my account, asking me not to send the chat logs to anyone, as they were afraid of being criticized as idiots. Taking their money and helping them avoid disaster. We're all family, so why would I send the chat logs around? Of course, Willow also sent me messages begging me not to divorce her. She married me not just because the original owner promised to donate a kidney to Makoto, but also because her grandfather had taken a liking to me. If she didn't marry me, she would have to live independently and would never experience the life of a rich family again. I said, "I can agree to everything else, but not this. If I don't divorce her, how am I supposed to pursue Anna, the beautiful little lady? I don't do affairs during marriage." Willow realized that I no longer loved her and, with sadness in her eyes, asked, "You said you loved me. Has that changed now?" I said, "Oh, that was a misunderstanding. I thought you were the girl who saved me when I was young. I mistook you for her, which is why I fell for you at first sight. After spending time with you, I realized that you're just okay. You're fine looking, but not my type. I'm just not interested. Ask Makoto if he still wants you. Maybe he'll take you back as trash." My words were too blunt for Willow to accept. She clutched her chest, looking as though she might have a heart attack, but she still managed to ask me, "So, have you found that girl?" I smiled slightly and didn't answer. Who that girl was isn't written in the novel. In the original story, the male lead mistook the female lead for someone else, fell in love with her, gave up everything for her, and only then discovered that he had been mistaken from the start. But by then, he had already emptied himself, literally, in a physical sense, unable to return what he had given. I, of course, won't fall in love with the female lead like the original male lead did. I'll just pretend that little girl was Anna and do whatever makes me happy. Seeing the joy on my face, Willow's face turned pale, and she asked, "It's Anna, isn't it? George, you really like her that much? You want a divorce? Fine, next life. Even if you beat me to death, I won't divorce you. Divorce isn't just about whose fist is stronger, it requires paperwork at the certificate center," I said to Willow, in a rare moment of patience. "Fine, divorce. It's not a big deal. I won't hit you anymore." Willow, looking determined, said, "I'd rather you beat me for the rest of my life." I was speechless. I said, "You really need treatment for that love-struck brain of yours. Let me contact a neurologist for you." Since Willow refused to divorce me, I couldn't keep wasting time with her. Instead, I took the original owner's luxury car and used the 10-digit sum in his bank account to eat, drink, and play wherever I wanted. There's nothing I can do. I'm a first-time rich person, and there are so many things you need money for that I haven't experienced. After I had my fun, I decided to visit the original owner's adoptive parents. After the original owner and Makoto were switched at birth, he was taken to the countryside to be raised, and only later was he brought back to the Ito family. His adoptive parents were farmers, with an older brother and a younger sister, living in difficult conditions. Although they didn't provide the best living environment for George, they never treated him unfairly. Makoto, not wanting to live a tough life with his biological parents, caused strife to stay at the Ito family. He sowed discord and created conflicts between George and both his biological and adoptive families. This time, I gave George's adoptive parents and his siblings a sum of money as gratitude for raising him. Don't ask me why I'm being so generous. It's simple, money isn't mine. It was given by the Ito family, so let's all enjoy it together. Not only that, but I also donated an asphalt road and a Hope Elementary School to the adoptive parents' hometown. After all, I have so much money, and I can't spend it all by myself. Let's all spend it together. Chapter 12. During that time, I was busy doing charity, donating to schools, hospitals, and roads. I always carried a wad of cash in my pocket, and whenever I saw a dog, I'd slip it 2 bills. Merit +1 +1 +1 +1. Someone posted about my deeds online, and in the comment sections and bullet comments, everyone was shouting, "Father, save me, give me 2 bills." They started calling me the wealth-dispensing Buddha, and dug up the fact that my father was the CEO of the Ito family. My wife was a wealthy heiress, and my 3 sisters were top celebrities in the entertainment industry. I laughed so hard, "Don't come near me unless you're transferring money into my account." One day, I was tossing coins into a wishing well when I suddenly received a call from Willow. I laughed and asked, "What's up? Ready for a divorce now?" But to my surprise, Willow sounded anxious and said, "George, hurry back. Something big has happened." She said it in a hurry, and then hung up the phone. I figured I hadn't seen Anna, my little beauty, in over 6 months, so it was time to go back and visit her. I felt a little bad about making Anna wait for my divorce, especially since I hadn't done it in half a year, but I didn't expect that when I got off the plane, I was sent straight to the hospital. My heart sank. No way, no way, don't tell me the stupid plot is coming back again. And, sure enough, it came. Willow, with tears in her eyes, grabbed my sleeve and said, "George, please, save Makoto. He's in critical condition and needs a kidney transplant. As long as you donate a kidney to him, I'll do anything you want. Even though you'll lose a kidney, you'll gain all my love for the rest of your life." I was disgusted. I asked, "What do I need that for?" Willow's expression immediately turned awkward. Seeing that Willow's words weren't working, the Ito family came over to try to persuade me. Ito's mother said, "George, please save Makoto. Do you really have the heart to watch him die?" I replied, "Of course, hurry up and die." Ito's father said, "George, don't say that in anger. He's your brother." I responded, "You can't donate blood or organs to direct relatives." The 3 sisters said, "What will it take for you to save Makoto? Think about how we've treated you in the past 6 months." I shrugged and said, "Although you've been nice to me this past half year, for the first half of my life, you all humiliated me. You think giving me some money can make up for all the suffering I went through? At least double it." Laughable. Trying to moralize me. Too bad, I have no morals. I only have merits. Seeing how upset everyone was, I decided to boost my own merits. I cleared my throat and seriously addressed them. I said, "Do you really want to save Makoto? Are you all truly concerned about him?" The Ito family nodded. Although Willow didn't directly nod, I could tell from her eyes that she was concerned. I took a deep breath and said the one thing in this book that I thought was the most ridiculous. I said, "You all know that Makoto and I both have panda blood, right?" Everyone nodded and said, I asked, "Then, have you ever wondered why I have panda blood?" I grabbed Ito's father by the collar and said, "Because my panda blood is hereditary. Our dad also has panda blood. Not just our dad, My eldest sister, second sister, and third sister, they all have panda blood. You all want to save him, so why don't you donate? Dad, donate a kidney to your son, Makoto. Chapter 13. When Ito's father heard what I said, he was instantly stunned, as if he had never thought about this issue. He said, I'm afraid I'm not suitable for it. A kidney not only concerns a man's body but also a woman's happiness. Ito's mother was the first to disagree. She said, how can this work? Your father is so old, his body can't handle it. Then she rescued Ito's father from my grasp. I nodded, fully agreeing. I said, indeed, my father has sacrificed so much for this family. It would be too hard on him. Then, while Ito's parents sighed in relief, I grabbed the 3 sisters from the Ito family. I said, well then, sisters, who's donating? I said, you all said we have 5 people with panda blood in the family. You 4 can donate 1 each, and we could get 2 sets of kidneys for Makoto. Why does everyone want to pick on me alone? You 3, hurry up, speak up, who's donating? Willow also looked at them expectantly. However, the people who had been trying to morally blackmail me suddenly became experts at dodging responsibility. The eldest sister said, that won't work. I've got a drama to film, and donating a kidney is really harmful to the body. I'd need a long recovery. I'd have to pay a penalty fee for breach of contract. Don't you want me to have money for charity, right? I said, that really won't work. Hearing the eldest sister, the second sister, who had always followed the dual income, no kids, philosophy, immediately said, George, it's not that I don't want to donate a kidney to Makoto, but I've been trying for a baby with your brother-in-law. You know, childbirth takes a toll on women's health, and right now I really can't afford to damage my body anymore. She added, by the way, your brother-in-law also said yesterday that starting next month, he'll double your allowance. He wants you to stop staying in the country and travel abroad for a bit, maybe buy some supplements along the way. I nodded and said, it's important for sister's health, so second sister can't donate. I turned to the third sister with a look that clearly said, you're next. The third sister instantly got weak in the knees and resigned herself to the situation. She trembled and said, no, I'm afraid of pain. I faint at the sight of blood. Ito's mother quickly ran over to comfort her. Hugging her, she said, yes, your third sister has always been weak, you know that. I looked helplessly at the whole family and said, so, there's no discussion then? Then I turned to Willow and said, look, it's not just me refusing to donate blood and a kidney to him. They won't do it either. Since no one is willing, let's just leave Makoto to fate, shall we? My words were like a beam of light, illuminating the dark corridor outside the hospital room. It seemed that everyone was redeemed by what I said. They instantly let go of their guilt and started coming up with excuses. Ito's father sighed and said, Makoto is truly unfortunate. Who would have thought he'd get such a disease at such a young age? The eldest sister said, even if we donated a kidney to him, there's a high chance of rejection. I heard the survival rate in the first year is very low. The second sister replied, yeah, rather than going through all that trouble and still not saving him, it's better to be kind to him now and let him leave happily. The third sister quietly said, it's not like there's no hope. Maybe he'll find a matching kidney source. In just a few words, they found their escape route. Only Willow stood there, stunned. She said, are you all really not going to care about him? He's so young, and you're really just going to watch him die. He's your family, isn't he? Willow tried to moralize and emotionally blackmail the Ito family, but the Ito family had no morals either. Ito's father sighed and said, Makoto isn't my biological son, after all. The eldest sister said, he's been able to live a good life in our family for so many years, and that's already his blessing from his past life. The second sister said, it's not that we don't want to donate, but we're all weak. We can't handle losing a kidney. The third sister nodded and said, yeah, we can't sacrifice our family's happiness just for him. I couldn't help but clap, 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 clap. Mom, Dad, sisters, you all are absolutely right. Helping others is good, but you have to know your limits. Take care of yourselves first, and if you have extra energy, then help others. Makoto is so understanding. He surely won't force you, right? The Ito family, at this moment, all stood on my side, speaking in unison, right? Chapter 14. Willow saw our entire family finally united, breathing from the same nostril, and her face showed nothing but disappointment. You all. She dragged her heavy footsteps into Makoto's hospital room. Makoto still didn't know that he had been abandoned by the entire family. He was still calculating his next move. He smiled and asked, Willow, is George back? Did he agree to donate a kidney to me? He promised. Once I'm better, I'll take you to all the places we once wanted to go together. Willow, heartbroken, threw herself into his arms and choked out, It's okay, Makoto. Even if the whole world abandons you, I won't. I will save you. I took out my phone and snapped a few pictures of them. I said, "Hey, Willow, hold up a second. We're not even divorced yet." I said that, but I quickly sent the photos to her family's group chat, tagging her grandfather manually. I said, "Old man, look at this. I told you before, the person Willow loves is Makoto. Please approve our divorce." To my surprise, Willow's grandfather immediately sent a long voice message. He angrily said, "Willow wants to divorce you and be with Makoto. That sickly man, she can forget about it. George, don't worry. Even if I have to tie Willow up, I'll make sure she comes back to you." I was speechless. Thank you, old man. No wonder in the original story, the female lead and male lead kept getting dragged back and forth, suffering over and over again. It turns out, Willow's grandfather is the real MVP here, but I don't want this blessing. I said, "Old man, I think this really isn't necessary. To be honest, I'm not really that fond of your granddaughter." Before I could finish, Willow rushed over and snatched my phone away. She shrieked, "What are you saying to my grandfather and my parents? George, are you satisfied with what you've done to Makoto?" I was about to explain, but seeing Willow's arrogant expression made me furious. Without thinking, I slapped her across the face and grabbed my phone back. I said, "It's been half a year, and your guts have grown. You're daring enough to steal my phone now. I'm telling your grandfather I want him to approve our divorce and let you two be together. Don't waste my time while I look for my second spring." Willow, holding her face and with teary eyes, stubbornly said, "You want to divorce me and go after that Anna, right? Don't even dream about it. You two adulterers." Before she could finish, I slapped her a few more times across the face. I cursed, "Adulterers, that's how you're using the term." Then I showed her the photos on my phone. "Who's having an affair? Who's the adulterer? You don't know that, do you? All right, stop whining. Bring your documents tomorrow morning and divorce me right away, or I'll post these photos online. Oh, and by the way, I won't give you a single cent of the assets. You know what's yours, and if you keep pushing, I'll make sure you won't have it easy. After all, I'm the wealth-dispensing Buddha now, and there are many places I need to spend money. I don't get it. Why is divorce such a difficult task in this angsty story?" Willow, forced to go home and explain things to her family, showed them the bruises from where I hit her, claiming I was abusing her. Her family quickly agreed to let her divorce me. After all, she's a wealthy heiress, and getting slapped around all the time is just unacceptable. We went to the marriage certificate office, and within half an hour, we had our divorce papers. Chapter 15. As I walked out the door, I waved the divorce certificate at Willow and said, "Goodbye, ex-wife." Willow clenched her fists, looking at me with a face full of unwillingness. She said, "George, you'll regret this." I laughed and replied, "I'll regret it, regret that I ever married you in the first place." Though that marriage was originally with the previous owner, thinking about it still made me feel unlucky. To shake off that bad luck, that night I invited Anna to go have some barbecue and rid myself of the bad vibes. I said, "Hey, I got the divorce certificate. How about a date tonight?" To my surprise, Anna refused me. She replied, "I'm busy, not interested. How about we just book a hotel room?" Ha, a woman, rejecting me. Wait, what did she say? I replied, "All right, I'll wait for you." From that point on, I, now single, spent my time generously donating money, not just to charity but also sponsoring people, making investments, buying property, and more. Whenever Anna was free, I'd take her out on dates. Over time, not only did I not spend much of the money, but I found I was getting even wealthier. I even made it onto the billionaire rankings. As for Willow and Makoto, I didn't bother to inquire. One day, I was planning to meet Anna for a movie. I drove into the parking garage, and as soon as I got out of the car, I was blinded by a car's headlights. Next thing I heard was the deafening sound of an engine, and a car came straight at me. Instinctively, I put one hand on the car's roof and flipped myself into a handstand. The car skimmed right past me. Seeing it miss me, the car made an extreme turn and came charging at me again. With my skills, I've won countless competitions since I was a kid and was unbeatable by the time I was 18. Could I not dodge a car? With one backflip, I landed on top of another car. I avoided the car, but my Lamborghini didn't. It was smashed. Because I moved so quickly, the driver didn't react in time. He crashed into the car, and both the driver and the car were left dazed. As the airbags deployed, the driver was stuck in the driver's seat, coughing and looking at me, injured. I jumped off the car and walked over to him. "Oh, you're finished. My car is expensive." The man looked furious, his forehead wrinkled, and he seemed like a thug. Seeing me unharmed while he was badly hurt, he tried to reach out to hit me. I grabbed his wrist and twisted it, dislocating it. He screamed in pain, and immediately stopped being aggressive. I said, "My car is worth over 10 million. How are you going to compensate me?" He cursed, "I'll pay your mom." I snapped his dislocated wrist back into place with a quick motion. He screamed again, his face filled with misery as he looked at me. "Big brother, I can't afford it." I looked at the man's car, worth only a few $100,000, and realized he couldn't afford to pay. If I had money, why would I need to hire a hitman? I asked him, "Who sent you to kill me? Don't say it wasn't intentional. The garage has security cameras. You can't escape." The man hesitated for a moment before saying, "It's not that I don't want to say. It's just..." Seeing him hesitate, I made a move as if I was going to twist his wrist again. He broke into a cold sweat and quickly said, I'll tell you. It was your ex-wife, Willow. Willow. I cursed. How dare she? After investigating, I found that Makoto was running out of time and still hadn't found a matching kidney. Was she planning to hire someone to crash into me, then forge a donation contract to transplant my kidney into Makoto? As expected of a protagonist who's basically operating just shy of the criminal code, seriously criminal. At this rate, my future's looking more and more prosecutable. Chapter 16. Faced with this situation, I of course called the police immediately. Hiring a hitman and attempting to steal organs is a serious crime, and Willow was quickly arrested. The Liu family tried to get me to write a letter of forgiveness to reduce Willow's sentence, but I refused. They then threatened me, saying they would bankrupt the Ito family business. I installed surveillance cameras, recorded the audio, and made a public announcement. Now, Willow's attempt to hire a hitman and her threat against the victim couldn't be hidden. The Liu family's reputation plummeted, and even Liu's stock value took a massive dive. The Ito family hadn't gone bankrupt yet, but the Liu family was already on the verge of collapse. Though I wasn't hurt in the assassination attempt, Willow, due to her knowledge of the law, her severe crime, and her poor attitude toward admitting guilt, was sentenced to 10 years in prison. As for Makoto, he couldn't get my kidney, and after waiting for a matching donor that never came, he didn't live much longer. His biological parents didn't blame me, but they asked to take his ashes back to their hometown for burial, which I agreed to. 10 years later, when Willow was released from prison and went to visit Makoto's grave, the grass on Makoto's tombstone had grown over 2 meters high. As for me, I had already crossed over the night Makoto died because of my countless good deeds and boundless merits. I crossed over back to the original world. Yes, I fucking crossed over back. It was just as I was confessing to Anna, and she agreed to be my girlfriend. We were about to kiss when it happened. Oh, you ask how I knew the rest of the plot if I had already crossed over? Because I crossed over into a book I had read in real life. After I came back, I immediately went to check the ending. To my surprise, the plot of the book had changed, and it had turned into everything I had done, because slapping people was so satisfying. The book even made it to the bestseller list. Everyone said the book started like a typical angsty story, but then the male lead completely changed and went on a killing spree. The whole story went from low to crazy in no time. The author who had originally written the angsty story said, "Anyone who wants to write an angsty story, let them. I'll only write feel-good stories from now on. No more angsty stories." When I saw this, I couldn't help but tear up. Whoa, you all had fun, but what about me? My Anna, my beautiful little lady, I still haven't kissed you. My father, seeing me cry, asked, "Son, what's wrong? Did a donkey kick you in the head?" Ha, I used to miss him, but I shouldn't have returned to this house. I said, "Can't you see? I'm heartbroken." My father asked, "Who are you heartbroken over? A wooden stake, or a punching bag?" I wasn't angry. He's my real father. Just as I was sobbing uncontrollably and my father was laughing mockingly, the gate to our yard suddenly opened. A tall, strikingly beautiful woman walked in. She smiled gently and asked, "Excuse me, is this Mr. Wang's house? My name is Anna. I'd like to learn some self-defense techniques. Is there still space here for me?" I looked at her, and I couldn't believe it. This was my girlfriend from the novel. How did I see her here? Am I dreaming? I rubbed my eyes hard, and she was still standing there. I immediately went over and invited her in. I said, "Is this the place, Anna?" "Right. From now on, I'll be your senior. You'll be my junior. What would you like to learn? Your senior knows it all." "Hey, junior, what do you think about a relationship between disciples?" I led Anna to the backyard, leaving my father behind with a confused expression. And so, a new chapter for Anna and I had just begun.